everyone, it's Patty from PS Paper Crafts, and I wanted to show you how to make this card. It's a sympathy card, and I have this tree image from the Power of Hope stamp set. I love this tree, and I wanted to make it on a card, but it's so small I thought, oh, it's going to get lost. So I did a bunch of layers. I did some embossing and layered it up, and I think it came out fine. So it says, with deepest sympathy, and then on the inside, thinking of you with all my heart. So the stamp set is Power of Hope. This is from the Sale-A-Bration catalog. So during Sale-A-Bration through March 31st, you can earn free products by spending on other products. So if you spend 50 or 100, you can get some of these products for free. And they're really great products. And all the way in the back is this one. And this is actually a bundle, so it comes with the embossing folder. This is for $100, so if you spent $100 on other product in the annual catalog, the spring catalog, clearance, whatever, so if you want to stock up on things, you would get the stamp set, and then this is the, I think it's called the Stone 3D Embossing Folder, and we'll be using that today. So I think it's really nice, but I wanted to make a sympathy card. So I got my my sentiments from the Peaceful Moments, and this is in the mini catalog that's going on right now through the end of May. And I have the deepest sympathy and then thinking of you with all my heart. So let's get started. Let me put these aside and get my pieces out. So they're right here. So I will have all my dimensions on my blog, pspapercrafts.com, and I'm using really garden green, whisper white, and then I'm using some early espresso on the tree. So let's get our embossing done first. So this is the piece I'm going to use. Let me get my big shot out. And it's a 3D embossing folder. So when I do embossing with the 3D embossing folder, I use the embossing plate that's specifically made for 3D folders. You can play with yours and use shims if you need to add a little more to your sandwich, or get the folder. It just makes it easier just to use one thing. So what I'm using is my plain platform. So there's nothing on top of it, and if you have the one that has the tabs, whatever you do your embossing folders on is how you want to set it up. And then you're going to put this with the fold up at the top, and you're just going to lay this on top. Let me just give myself some room here, and you're just going to run it through. Now I only run it through once. You can go back and forth a couple of times if you want to. You can also spray it with a little bit of water. They say to get a deeper impression. I never do that, but I know some people do. And then when you open it up, you have your embossed layer. And then this is the deboss. And sometimes I'll use this side of it instead of this side, depending on what the folder is and what I'm making. So that's that part. Let's get our, let me just make sure I have the right size. Let's get our stamping done. So I'm going to stamp right on here, and the way I'm going to do this, because I want two colors on this stamp, I'm going to use my Stampin' Write markers. So I have Garden Green and Early Espresso, and make sure you're using Stampin' Write markers. You can't do this with the Stampin' Blends. Very important. The Stampin' Blends are alcohol based and these are water based, so you can color on your stamps with these, and they really work, I think, better with the rubber stamps, the red rubber versus the clear ones. So I'm just going to color this, color all the top green, and I love the garden green. It's such a rich green. I really love greens. I never used to like them, and I don't know, somewhere in my life I turned into liking green. So I'm going to do, there's a little bit of grass on the bottom. I'm going to put this down, and then I'll pick up my brown, the Early Espresso, and I'm just going to color the trunk. Now this is a small piece. I am going to breathe on it to moisten it, and it's probably not that important with this, but if you were doing a big stamp and lots of different colors, you would want to, some people call it huffing, but breathe on it. So let me put the caps on these. And then I'm just going to breathe just to moisten it. And I'll just go right here. Isn't that pretty? I love how it came out. So now I'm going to punch it, and I'm going to start with the 2-inch punch. If you don't have punches, circle punches, you can certainly use your dies. You can use the layering circle dies or whatever dies you have. So I'm going to punch this, just make sure it's all nice and centered. And then I'm going to punch, so this was 2 inches. I'm going to punch a green piece with 2 1/4 inches just to get my layers. And this is where the dies come in if you needed to. And then I need to do another white. Let me get another white. Thought I had enough white in that. So I'm going to just use a scrap. And this is 2 1/2. That was a piece I had cut for something else. Oh, and look, I have something on the back, but no big deal, right? So this will just layer up, and I'll just adhere these together. So see how the card is coming together? And then I want to get my my sentiment, and I'll make another sympathy card. Unfortunately, you never have enough sympathy cards, right? And I'm just going to ink that up and stamp it down. It's a little crooked, but I'll fix that when I do my my punch. And this is the punch, I forget what it's called, So Very Lovely or something like that. And actually I need to be able to feed it in. It'll be on my blog though. It's in the spring mini catalog. So I'm gonna just put it in and see, I can straighten it up here. And I like to squeeze it a little bit before I punch it, just to get everything all nice and perfect. So that's that. And actually, let's do our inside while we're doing our stamping. So I have the layer, this is a layer behind, and then inside I have another layer. And we'll do the Thinking of You with All My Heart. So I'll just ink that up. Okay, and then I want to also put another tree down. So I'm going to do the same exact thing that I did before, where I'm going to color it. You can clean it between, you don't have to. If you were doing different colors in a lot of intricate places, I would clean it between, just to make sure you don't get the wrong color in the wrong place. But this is pretty simple. Okay, and just one other thing to note, if you're doing light and dark colors, do your lighter colors first, so you don't pick up the dark on your marker and then have a dark, a dark brown on your yellow marker or something like that. So just these are pretty dark, both of them, so I don't think it matters, but I did do the brown second. So let me breathe on it. And then we'll just stamp it right down here in the corner. Okay, and then we can just put our card together. Very simple. So I'm going to glue the pieces together with my multi-purpose liquid glue. That's what I like to use, but you use whatever you like. I'm just going to glue the circles together, and then I'll pop them up once I have everything put together. Oops. Just put a little more here. Okay, and then let's put some on the back of this. And I do think you need a strong adhesive when you're doing embossed layers, just because there's a lot of, mountains and valleys, they call them, ups and downs, nooks and crannies, whatever you want to call them. And it just helps to get the adhesive you want a strong adhesive just to hold it in place. And I like the liquid because I think it does a good job getting in all those nooks and crannies. Okay, so let's put the inside in while we're doing this. And actually we're going to run some baker's twine around that. So that's why I didn't put that down yet. So let's get this down. And just center it. Okay, so now we're going to just wrap some baker's twine around this. And I have the Whisper White. And I'm going to start in the back and just wrap it around 3 times. And then I'll cut it and kind of get it all nice and neat and even. Let's just see how this looks. Okay, so that all looks good. I'm going to just put it in the back and put some Scotch tape on it. I need another hand. Wouldn't that be nice? So let's get this all squared away here. Okay, and let's do the other one. And you can put this on however you normally do. I'm getting into the Scotch tape. I just find that to be easier. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is we can put this layer down now, and then we can add the tree to it, and then we'll tie a bow. That's always fun, right? Let me just get out in the corners here. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I had that in the right place, the right side. Okay, so let's get our bow tied. And what I like to do is I just take 2 or 3, you could just do 1, but I'm doing 3 strands. That was my dog snoring. If you heard that, I apologize. It wasn't me. All right. So I'm going to just cut these so that there's 3 separate strands. And then I'll make a bow with it. Just hold them all together and tie a bow like you would tie a bow any other time. And then you just fix it. I just think it adds some, you know, extra dimension to it. And that's a little bit, well, we'll see how it looks. I did one side a little bit longer than the other, but I think it's okay. There we go. So I'm just going to cut the tails so they're all about even. And we can put this down. We'll put this down with dimensionals. And Merry Christmas on the back. There you go. Gotta love it. I always have scraps around, and I use both sides, so if I mess up on one side, I'll keep the paper, you know, for a future project. So I just keep everything. Okay, got them all. So we'll just put this right here. And then we'll use a glue dot and adhere that. So I'm just going to pick up a glue dot with my fingers, kind of roll it in a ball, and stick it on the back. It's very sticky. It's sticking to me. So there we go. We have that done. And then we'll just put the sentiment on with dimensionals. And we're done. Pretty easy card. I love the colors with that stone embossing folder. It's just kind of rich looking, and the tree I love. Looks like a bonsai tree. I think that's what it's supposed to be. Okay. So So let's get that down in the corner. And there you go. Have both cards. Pretty. These would be good for a guy's birthday card too if you wanted to put happy birthday instead. I think it's a kind of a masculine look. But thanks for joining. I'm glad you came, and come back again next time. Take care. Bye.